Rights, Peace and Politics. The International Council on Human Rights, Peace and Politics is a United Nations accredited organization dedicated to empowering marginalized voices and advocating for global justice. The Council operates as a global alliance, uniting individuals from across the world to break the stereotypes and speak up against the injustices. As the motto of this council says, silence is complicity, break it. It's our mission, or the mission of this council centers on breaking stereotypes and championing the right to speak freely about the human rights, peace, and politics. Through the initiatives like the Global Ambassador Fellowship, this organization cultivates the forward-thinking practitioners and scholars capable of influencing policy, research, and practices in international governance and human rights. The organization also publishes the International Journal on Human Rights, Peace and Politics, providing a platform for unfiltered dialogue that champions free speech and expression. Today's webinar has been organized by the Center of Peace and Conflict Studies, International Council on Human Rights, Peace and Politics. And the main theme of the webinar is, the topic of today's discussion is the global voices, women's rights across the border. And in this webinar and in this discussion, we will try to explore diverse perspectives and challenges faced by women worldwide in their pursuit of equality and empowerment. And for that, we have a very amazing list of speakers today. I'll be introducing them one by one. First of all, we have Ms. Priscilla Tindwa. Ms. Tindwa is a dedicated human rights advocate, researcher, and educator with an extensive experience in promoting gender equality and social inclusion. She is an adjunct lecturer at Mzuzu University. Ms. Priscilla also serves as a human rights research fellow and center coordinator for the International Council on Human Rights, where she leads a team in conducting crucial research on human rights issues, particularly violence against women and girls, and translates findings into accessible and influential discussion places. Then we have Ms. Devi from India. She is the director and the coordinator of District Development Cell in India, where she is a part of a range of initiatives and projects related to development and actively engages with issues of gender, sexuality, and caste, and make critical contribution in these fields. Her academic and professional journey is deeply rooted in social research and community engagement. Ms. Devi holds a master's degree in development studies and a bachelor in social work with a specialization in rural development. Thank you for joining us. Then we have Ms. Aman Bilal, who is also from India. Ms. Aman Bilal is a PhD scholar at Christ University, Bangalore, India, with an academic background in psychology before transitioning to literature. Her research spans conflict studies, gender studies, war literature, film studies, and African American literature, reflecting her interdisciplinary approach to the scholarship. Her current research explored narratives of conflict and the examination of lived experiences in war zone, aligning with her deep interest in human rights, women's rights, and the empowerment of the marginalized communities. Ms. Aman has presented papers at several national and international conferences, consistently working to highlight perspectives often overlooked in the mainstream discourse. So thank you for joining us, Ms. Aman Bilal. Then we have Ms. Imama Tahir, a speaker from Pakistan. She is an MPhil student at the Department of Political Science, University of ICHRPP, Pakistan, and having over 4 years of experience in policy analysis and research. Her expertise spans climate change, e-governance, child protection, and sustainability, with a track record of driving evidence-based solutions for policymakers through collaborations with esteemed institutions like UNICEF, University of Sussex, and Pakistan Institute of Development Economics. Then we have Ms. Paras Khan, also from Pakistan, who is a recent graduate with a BS in Social Sciences, specializing in international relations, She is a dedicated research analyst and a passionate human rights activist committed to addressing social issues, particularly human rights violation and women's rights. She strongly believes in active human efforts to bring about a positive change in the world. Then we have another speaker from Pakistan, Ms. Zara Mahmood, who is a final year student pursuing her bachelor's degree in strategic studies from the National Defense University, Islamabad. She has worked with various organizations as a research fellow, including Global Defense Insight and World Diplomacy Watch. She has also recently developed a curriculum for Insight Collaborative Humanitarian Mentorship Program. Zara's impressive portfolio includes numerous publications on geopolitics of the Middle East, nuclear deterrence, and global affairs, reflecting her commitment to understanding and shaping a better world. And last but not least, Ms. Bakhtawer Abid, also from Pakistan. Bakhtawer Abid is pursuing her bachelor's degree in strategic studies from the National Defense University, Islamabad. She is a research analyst and specializes in defense and security research, focusing on security and policy analysis to drive and inform decision-making. Ms. Bakhtawer's diverse experience spans content writing, research, and volunteer work with notable contributions to the studies on Pakistan's nuclear postures, communicable diseases policy, and female hygiene awareness. With a robust analytical skills, she is dedicated to making a positive contribution amid pressing global security challenges. So thank you very much indeed to all of you for joining us today. Before going into discussion, I will give you a brief overview about today's topic. Over the past decades, a significant progress has been made in advancing women's rights worldwide. Legal reforms, international conventions, and grassroots movements have contributed to greater gender equality in areas like education, employment, political participation, and protection against gender-based violence. More women than ever before are leading businesses, holding public office, and advocating for their rights in various spheres. However, the journey towards true gender equality still remains uneven, with disparities in progress between different regions, particularly between the global north and the global south. In many high-income countries, legal protections, workplace policies, and educational opportunities have improved women's status significantly, while challenges such as gender pay gap and reproductive rights restrictions persist. Women in the global north generally have more institutional support to address these issues than those in the global north and in the global south. And women in the global south often face more structural barriers, including limited access to education, economic marginalization, high rates of gender-based violence, and deeply entrenched cultural norms that hinders progress. Conflict, political instability, and economic disparities further exacerbate these challenges, making it hard for women to claim their rights and access justice in the global south. Such disparity highlights the importance of a cross-regional dialogue and collaboration. While different regions may face unique challenges, they also have valuable lessons to share. The global north can provide resources, policy models, and platforms for advocacy, while the global south offers rich experiences in grassroots activism, resilience, and community-driven solutions. By fostering a global exchange of ideas, strategies, and solidarity, we can build a more inclusive movement that addresses the root causes of gender inequality and creates a world where all women, regardless of their geographic location, can thrive. Now, I would like to open the floor for the panelists to discuss this pressing issue of our time. And we have got only 40 minutes. Every speaker, we have a list of 7 speakers overall. So almost every speaker would be having 5 minutes to express his or her ideas on the topics or on the subtopics that are mainly the current landscape of the women's rights across the globe, the common challenges that need to be addressed, and the efforts to foster a global and cross-regional solidarity in advocating women's rights. I would like Ms. Priscilla to start with it. Please, Ms. Priscilla Tendwa, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. I'm so glad to be part of this panel, and I'm so glad that you all made time to join the discussion. And I hope all the discussions will be fruitful and engaging. Yes. So to begin with, as Mohammed has mentioned, my name is Priscilla Tindwa. I'm from Malawi. So Malawi is a country in the southern east part of Africa. It's a landlocked country, and it's considered as one of the poorest countries by global standards. Yeah. So I'll just go into my discussion. So the way I've structured my discussion is I'll talk about some statistics, some general statistics, and then some of our key achievements when it comes to gender equality and women empowerment. And I'll talk about some of the challenges. So on the challenges, I'll mostly focus on the cultural and social barrier challenges. And then of course I'll suggest some solutions. So to begin with some of the statistics. Okay, so 37.7% of women aged between 20 and 24 years old in Malawi were married before the age of 18. So child marriage is one of the common women's rights issues in Malawi. So you can imagine like that for the 7.7 women being married before the age of 18. And then also another challenge is we're talking about parliamentary representation. So we have 20.7, that was as of 2024, we had like 20.7% of seats in parliament were held by were women. So you can see the disparities between men and women. So just 20%, and you know that women make up a larger population, as compared to men. So imagine like we have 20% of women in parliament. And another statistic is there's prevalence of gender-based violence. We had like 16 in 2018. We had like 16.6% of women between the age of 15 and 49 who had experienced some sort of physical or sexual violence which is mostly perpetrated by their former intimate lovers, or sometimes just by their parents, or that. So it's like it's a very common issue in Malawi as well. We have like gender-based violence, and also we also have like
Ms. Tendwa,
yes.
Your voice is not clear. Kindly get near to the mic or something like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, I apologize for that.
No problem.
So let me just keep going on the statistics. So we also have like most of our laborers, women laborers, they do not get paid as compared with the same wages as compared to men. So that's a challenge that most women face in Malawi. So those were just the statistics. So I just want to go into some of the current landscape of women's rights in Malawi. Some of the key achievements within the legal framework. We've managed to we have the Constitution of Malawi, which guarantees gender equality, which is a good thing. This is in Article 24, so it guarantees gender equality. And then also have the Gender Act of 2013, which aims to eliminate discrimination and promote gender equality. And then also have the Marriage, Divorce, and Family Relations Act, which also set the minimum age of marriage to 18 years. Before we had this act, like young girls would just get married without having any legal protection. And of course, also this is also linked to our traditional values and gender norms and expectations. So when this law was put in place, the legal age of 18 it protected some of the young girls, yeah. And then we also have the Prevention of Domestic Act of 2016. So within the legal framework, those are the key areas within the Malawi legal framework. So when it comes to education, we've also seen some improvements as well. where there's an increased enrollment of girls in primary school education. And also in Malawi, we have free primary school education. So every child is expected to go to school and it's free at primary school. Yeah, so that's a very good thing. Now that we have, can you hear me? Hello? Am I audible enough?
Yes,
Yes,
it
yes.
is. Thank you.
All right, yeah. So like because of the free education, primary school education, we've had an increase of 137% of girls being enrolled in primary school. And also we've had some programs which are aimed at keeping girls in school. Some of these are called CAMFED, and then there's also some other programs which are in my language. So yeah. And then also in terms of politics, we have had an increase in women in parliament as well as local government positions. And then also like just as of, like I said earlier on, as of 2024, 20.7% of seats in parliament were women as compared to uh, in 2018 where we only had 16% of parliamentarians as women. So those are some of our key achievements in terms of gender equality and women empowerment. So I'll just move on to some of the challenges. So as we all know, in most cases, gender-based violence is one of the main problems when it comes to women. So in Malawi, it's not an exception. We have had so many like gender-based violence issues, but then I don't want to focus on that because I think that's a very general topic. But what I want to focus mostly on is the traditional cultural and traditional barriers that women face when it comes to gender-based violence, when it comes to gender inequality. So in cultural barriers, we have patriarchal structures where our country has like most of our structures are very patriarchal. We have traditional gender roles which often place men in positions of authority, and as well as when they do that, then most women feel we kind of assume the subordinate role. So by doing so, we don't feel like on the same level as women as men. Yeah. So because of all these patriarchal structures that are entrenched in our societies, we're not able to occupy the same places as men, even in the public places as well as the domestic places. And also we have like some cultural practices like chiwongo, which is basically dowry, and bride price, where the man is expected to pay some type of price, some type of uh, gift or something. Of course, they call it a gift, but it's not a gift. It's basically like you're buying the girl or the wife. I mean, the woman. Yeah. So the moment you pay dowry, you have that entitlement as a man to that woman. So it kind of like continues to perpetuate the gender inequalities as well as gender-based violence. We also have things like polygamy.
Ms. Rosella,
Yes.
kindly conclude your remarks.
Okay. All right. Yes. So we have things like polygamy, and we also have some of our very sorry, we have a cultural practice called sexual cleansing, where you have a man that is expected to take the virginity of several girls. So girls go to a certain type of ritual when they come of age. So that man sleeps with all those. One specific man is called the hyena. He sleeps with all those girls as a way of cleansing them for like, preparing them for marriage. So those kind of cultural practices, they continue to entrench in the societies and make women's rights. Yeah, they continue to impact on women's rights. So basically, that's it. So those are the main challenges. Of course, the solutions, I'm sure we're going to discuss about that with the other panelists. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rosella.
Mm.
Now I would like to call Ms. Amin Bilal.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Am I expected to switch on my video or I can continue like this?
If you can switch on your video, that would be great.
Can you hear me? Okay. So first, I would like to thank the moderator and the organizers for giving me the opportunity to share my ideas here. So taking the discussion forward from where Priscilla stopped, um, I am like my ideas are primarily based on the lived experiences and observations I had as a researcher, and the kind of struggles I personally have faced and I have witnessed other women facing in workspaces, especially in academia, and the challenges female researchers go, and like what are the possible solutions to deal with the same. First of all, I would also like to briefly touch upon the statistical information, like the literacy rate, which has moved from 54% to 77 at present when it we compare the female literacy rates, which is a positive sign. But again, unfortunately, there's just 25% labor force participation because of societal expectations and the lack of workplace safety for women. So something I think which still needs to be worked on. And of course, there have been certain implementations like Protection of Women from Domestic Violence or POSH Act 2013 for workplace harassment, and the promotion of political participation as well. However, a few challenges are ongoing, such as especially in Indian context, where for example, sex selective abortions due to deep rooted gender bias, or like in a few economically disadvantaged societies where women are uh, women are denied access to education, and something as sensitive as marital rapes not being criminalized. So issues like that, which still need to be worked on. um, uh, like now talking as like I'm talking from Indian context, and I think even though the challenges are very much interconnected, but the solutions need to be contextualized to understand the problems like largely. So India being a diverse country with different religions, cultures, and ethnicities. So I think all these factors do play an important role in terms of affecting each woman's lived experience. Few cultures are liberal and few are very patriarchal, and I think that influences a woman's experience both in the society as well as workspaces. And now specifically talking about women in workspaces. I recently was a part of a scholars conclave where we were discussing the challenges faced by PhD scholars, and one of the speakers who hailed from Northeast, which is a conflict zone, she talked about how it was very different for her specifically because as a woman, her family was concerned about her safety, like is she arriving home on time, and which affected her data collection and her engagement with her participants, and also the harassment which women face in workspaces, which can be very racist or sexist. So these kind of challenges, unfortunately, I think are still persistent, and I wouldn't limit it to just Indian context. I think that is something which women face across the globe, and I would include both global north and global south in it. I think this is one of the similarities in terms of challenges that women face, which includes maybe gender violence, domestic violence, harassment at workplace. And I think perhaps where global north is at the advantageous position than global south is perhaps in terms of activism, where it's more formal and institutionalized, and in global south perhaps it's just like, you can voice out your concerns like through an NGO or maybe like a march outside or something like that. So yes, and also again, like I said, caste based discrimination, like it can be based on your ethnicity or the particular caste you face hail from. So all these add to your experience. Okay, like I can go on and on about it, but considering the time, I would in conclusion I would like to say, even though like women's rights struggles and certain issues are interconnected, and I would say very similar across the globe, but it's very important to contextualize the solution. Like it's very important to take the context in consideration while arriving at a solution. So I think that's all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ahmed Bilal. And let's hear from a Pakistani perspective. I would like Ms. Imama Tahir. Can you hear me?
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Hello, greetings to
Walaikum
all.
Assalam.
Hello,
Yes,
am I
you're
audible?
audible.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you
yes,
so much.
please. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about this issue. Okay, so I will be basically talking about the women in and their issues, whatever they are facing in the conflict zones, not only in terms of Pakistan, but overall, like Syria, Yemen, wherever the conflicts are going on, and whatever issues the women are facing, right? So, what is like women in conflict zone experiences the severe rights violations. In, these include sexual violence, forced displacement, exclusion from their peace processes. Conflicts often dismantle their existing social structures, leaving the woman vulnerable to exploitation. For instance, like in Syria, Yemen, and parts of the Sahel, we see that gender-based violence is used as a weapon of war. And in the meanwhile, what happened is that the women they are denied access to education, healthcare, and other reproductive health facilities. They aren't available. Like if you see the current situation in Pakistan, in conflict affected areas such as like KPK, Balochistan, and most recently Kuram, what we see that the women particularly, they are denied what they are denied the opportunities to healthcare, the economic opportunities, education, and many more facilities. However, what happened is that these women they have developed certain strategies to cope with these kind of difficulties. Like if we talk about Afghanistan right now, what happened is that like it's been more than thousand of days that the women they aren't allowed, or the girls they aren't allowed to pursue their education. So what they have tried, like they are trying to create their own solutions for it, trying homeschooling and educating themselves, or using many other techniques like online education system and everything. Okay, so how can we address now these challenges? So okay, so it is necessary that the sexual violence should be seen as a crime, and certain precedents should be both at national and international level developed for them, so that these sexual based violences during the war should be avoided. As well as the women and girls that are living in refugees camp, they should have safe zones, or safe spaces where they could discuss their issues properly, whether they are health related issues or other issues. I would like to suggest that the international organizations like UN and other organizations, they should try to fund the community. They should try to fund the community-led organization to amplify the grassroots movement to so that the women and the girls who are facing issues, their issues can be solved, such as the reproductive health care issues and making them economically empowered, and many other things. So that's how we can increase the women participation in peace negotiation, and provide economic opportunities and resources to the women affected by the conflict. That's all from my side. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Tahir. And you talked about funds from the international organization, but thanks to the Trump administration, a large number of initiatives and projects have been banned, and they have been blocked here in Pakistan and a number of other countries due to the shortage of funds. So we will see that. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Now I would like to call Ms. Devi from India to please share her thoughts about the topic.
Thank you, Tahir. Hello, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
I'm from India, actually. So I'll be mostly sharing my contextual experience of a lead person here. So if you look, India has also remarkably made a striving advancing in women rights. Yet we also continue to face deep-rooted challenges, including the patriarchal form embedded in our customs and traditions per se. And if you see the global South countries, our challenges are like very basic itself in long term. If you see bringing people into education, employment, and filling gaps in healthcare itself. I also know like women have overcome all these barriers and setting powerful examples. But however, our structural inequalities, violences, and socio-cultural norms still embarrass their full participation. So if I look like, I will just start with some intersect, like most of the speakers have already touched majority of our global challenges, that is commonality. So as I think Bilal also mentioned, there is a very big section of intersectionality in the context of India also. The aspects like poverty, conflicts, migration, and religion and caste per se in the context of India, if you take the caste plays a bigger role in the women rights and how we perceive the gender as an aspect. In India, caste and gender intersect, making Dalit, Adivasi, and lower caste women particularly vulnerable to systemic violence, sexual exploitation, and socioeconomic exclusion. And crimes against lower caste women often go unreported or under prosecuted due to caste-based impunity. And if you look into the gender-based violence, in sadly saying like currently our like the kind of increase in the rape cases have been also large, but the conviction rates in rape cases remain dismantling low. And sadly saying in India, marital rape is not properly a criminal offense under the Indian Penal Code. It still comes under the domestic violence only. And the survivors, of course, face lots of stigma surrounding it, like preventing them from seeking the kind of justice that they might have to get. And also, I think Priscilla have, in her context, we have mentioned about the dowry system. In India, we still have the like engagement of dowry system, and we have a Dowry Prohibition Act, but still our dowry-related violence and dowry system is existential. That is which very concerning also. And I think like globally, something that we all can like look forward is like the kind of online harassments, gender-based harassments we like women face in the online, like with the increasing digital access. Women reporting experiences of online abuse, including threats and harassments, is a growing issue that needs and concern from both the aspects of cyber violence and security. So, if you look into the education of the place I am coming from, in the 10 to 15 years of line, we have seen a good increase in the enrollment rate. But key, of course, key is in the retention and the quality becomes a challenge of this. So we have higher dropout rates after secondary schools, majorly because of poverty, early marriage, and lack of safety issues also. Um, it is very important we have some residential school structures for especially for women from marginalized communities, which has been a successful model also. And if you look into the political participation in the context of the country, we currently have a women reservation bill reserving 33% of seat in the parliament for women particularly to bridge the gap. This seems to be an positive steps towards the future step. And our local governance already have a good percentage of women engaging the same way, like 33%. But despite local representation, women remain underrepresented in decision-making roles at the state and national levels. And I'm glad to say like several NGOs and civil society groups are offering leadership training for women, encouraging political participation and political awareness, which becomes very key for the same purpose. And historically, in the context of India, workforce participation of women has been low. Recent trend shows a kind of an gradual increase, driven by both the economic, social, and political factors. And this is also driven by the increasing gig economy, which gives flexibility for work opportunities and the timings, increasing women also to participate. And parallelly, of course, a need of dual income means families also that comes into play. So if you look, the unpaid care work in India is also very large. The disproportionate burden of unpaid care work limits women from participating in the formal employment. If you see, it is globally also. If you look into southern global, majorly systematically our system and family structure doesn't till now is made to support women who probably who is liking to go for a work, who is employed. So this is a systematic change that might be required to support system for child care, from maternity policies. Everything would require a kind of restructuring for the same. And also, I would like to mention, like, we have in the further workplace harassments, we currently have a POSH Act, and another thing that I would also remind, like, that I would have missed in the discussion is land ownership. We currently have some kinds of legal rights over the land, but the kind of percentage of people who, like, women who holds land as an asset is still not that great. So this also comes in the very major, where land acts as one of the key element of your rights over decisions. And I think, like, in the context of India, the kind of self-help groups development, that is a group of community-based groups, have helped in improving living condition, and made people with similar and similar economic and social background have literally increased little bit of livelihood programs, literacy, and fostering kind of a woman's economic independence through it. That is some of the major things I would like to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Devi. Ms. Faraz Khan, we would like to hear from you as well, your views regarding this topic. Ms. Faraz Khan from Pakistan.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about the gender-based violence issues, about the women, about the girls' education, political participation, and all the things that are very common in Pakistan as well as global, as well as on the global level. So first of all, I would like to start with my country. So I belong to my Pakistan. So I would like to start with the issues of Pakistan, which are not only the issues of Pakistan. Basically, they are the global issues, but are alarming at third world countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, and so on, Iran as well. So Pakistan, recently Pakistan was reported as on the 145th number on the Gender Equality Index on global level ranks out of 146. And this was so disappointing thing for Pakistan women, for Pakistan people. So it creates a kind of imbalances between the economic progress, between the political participation, between the education attainment. It creates a major gap between the male and female as well. Society, just like Pakistan, actually is a society of Islamic teachings, where where girls have their own specific rights and males have their own specified rights. But here in Pakistan, due to being westernized influence, due to being mixed influences of different religions, different regions, as well as different powers, so it becomes a complicated case for Pakistan. So giving a woman's right or not to give right, it become a complex situation in Pakistan. As far as if I talk about the laws made in Pakistan for the protection of women, for the protection of gender equality, there are a lot of laws. I would say there are impressive laws we have, but the thing is implementation. We do not have the implementation, which creates the drastical events for the or the accidents for the women, or the such incidents just where we ranked 145th on out of 146 countries globally. Not only we have laws, they are implemented on rare level. However, we have other challenges as well. Not only this, where we fall when we talk about the challenges of Pakistani society. Being a Pakistani, I belong to province Sindh. Being a girl, I also personally I had faced many challenges being a girl in attending my education, in traveling alone anywhere. It feels like you need so many encouragement. You have to be a lion to get in the society, and that's so hard to maintain the line stigma here. That's impossible. The people in Pakistan, they are good. Not everyone are the bad, but there is need, or there is a gap of implementation of laws and rules, and there is a gap of women encouragement. So therefore, I was so acoustically wanted to join this, so I can contribute only 0.1% in my community. That would be a great part for me. So okay, now challenges. what challenges we face when we make the laws or we cannot implement the laws. Mostly we have the patriarchy, sorry for the pronunciation, being Pakistani, you may have no, okay, I have no good English, but okay. Patriarchy, male-dominated society and societal norms. These are these are the basic barriers for the implementing laws. And laws are made. This is a practical thing, now that we have the laws, but they are not implemented. The reasons are the one I mentioned, and the other is violence exclusively and job discrimination for other genders as well, women, transgenders as well, forced or conversion marriage. Okay, here in Pakistan, specifically in Sindh and Balochistan, girls are forced to be married and are being socialized to get married at very early age when they become adults. And the normal age of being adult is like 12 years, 13 years. That's the normal age for being adult. And then the parents are become so stressed, so they think their daughters are a kind of burden over them. That's a very low thinking, but they do. It's reality. Other than this, we have blasphemy or honor killings, very common in Sindh as well, part of Pakistan's province of Pakistan. And other than this, we have gender crisis. We have with low political participation of women. We have only 20% of political participation of women. We have Benazir Bhutto as a leading example where women can lead the country globally as well on national level and international. She represented Pakistan in a very I would say in a very marvelous way. She represented the Pakistan women also can become a change, become a chain of change as well, and a positive change. However, we know that for a country and for economic growth, we need to be give the equal rights to male, female, both the personalities. Either they are they are on the political grounds, they are on the educational grounds, or they are at any ground. Either on they are on business grounds as well. So I would feel that these are the challenges which we face very since the birth of Pakistan. This is not a very new thing I'm saying. That's a problem issue that has been carried out. We have NGOs, we have international NGOs as well, which are working over this. But the thing we have again is that implementation. We are funded with women empowerment programs. We are given many scholarships as well. But the thing is implementation. We do not have implementation, which make us the common or the rare girl, like remote areas girl, on very backward. If I would say, okay, maybe you can understand the situation if I give you some examples or a
Ms. Paris,
scenario where,
kindly conclude.
sorry.
Kindly conclude.
Oh, okay. Sorry for taking the time. I become so emotional. So, okay. Concludingly, I would say that if I would talk about the solutions that we have to make our laws more applicable, not only being on making it on books level as well, we have to implement in the society, we have to implement in the families, we have to implement in the houses as well, not to just write on the constitution, that's it. On the macro level, on the more economic opportunities for women as well, and education exists for all girls and women, especially as well, and from Balochistan and Sindh as well, and then to force conversions and blasphemy law misuses, societal shift to male attitudes and behavior as well as they think they are the king of their women, so they are not. Girls and women are also queen, they can also rule. Political actions to close the gender gap as well. This is what I feel are the solutions for Pakistan gender-based violences, Pakistan gender-based low political representation for women, and low education access. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Faris. Now, we would like to hear from Ms. Zara Mahmood.
Hello, how are you doing all? So many of things are discussed by my fellow members, so I'll just put a glimpse on some of them. So, starting with some of the challenges that are faced by women in Pakistan, but mainly, mostly are discussed, so I'll just focus on some of them which are not discussed yet. So, I believe that there are some gender-based climate vulnerabilities, climate change worsens existing gender inequalities. Women, particularly in the rural areas, are the primary caregivers and water fetchers, making them more vulnerable to environmental disasters like droughts, floods, and resource scarcity. In Pakistan, where climate-related disasters such as floods and droughts have become more frequent, these women in rural areas face a brunt of these events with limited access to resources and decision-making power. Like the recent 2010 floods displaced over 20 million people, including mostly the women and children. However, in my perspective, these challenges are going unaddressed because there are rarely policies made that address the gender-specific impacts. So now moving on to the other challenge that I think is very mental health stigma among women. Women are more prone to health issues like anxiety, depression, PTSD, but societal stigma and lack of resources often prevent them from seeking help. And I just found a recent study that stated that 50% of women in urban areas report experiencing depression but do not seek treatment due to fear of judgment or lack of awareness too. Also, there is another issue that is very terrible. That's menstrual health and hygiene. This issue remains a taboo subject because we can't discuss it openly, and there's a lack of access to menstrual products and sanitation facilities that lead to school dropouts and poor health for many women. So in Pakistan, there's a study that discussed that many, 40% of school girls lack access to proper hygienic products, contributing to high dropout rates, and their school don't have some facilities, and due to stigma things. However, this is not Pakistan is not facing there are many challenges for women, but along with that, there are many reforms taken by our government for addressing many issues. In 2016, our government passed the Punjab Protection of Women Against Violence Act that has this key provisions of establishment of women's shelter, 24/7 helplines for emergency assistance for women, and legal support uh, and protection for victims. And recently, in 2021, the Domestic Violence Bill, the Prevention and Protection Act, was also passed, and it was based on specialized courts for domestic violence cases, protection orders that can be issued quickly by courts on any domestic violence case, and also financial assistance and rehabilitation for survivors. Also, there is another National Commission on Status of Women initiative that plays a vital role in monitoring and recommending reforms related to gender-based violence in Pakistan. And it has launched several initiatives aimed at raising awareness, advocating for gender justice, and ensuring better implementation of laws related to violence against women. So, as these reforms are in place, there are some significant steps to make their implementation more strong. And to conclude, uh, facing the time, I would conclude the fight for women's rights is universal, both similar in the global north and global south. We face similar challenges, and however, whether in Pakistan, struggles and solutions are connected across the globe by supporting cross-regional solidarity and collaborating on shared goals like ending gender-based violence and improving education and political participation. We can create a world where gender equality is not just a goal, but a reality. That's all from my side. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Zara. And now, finally, I would like Ms. Bakhtawar to just very briefly share her views because we are running out of time. Ms.
Hello
Mustafa.
everyone. Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. How are you all? Okay, so I will, as already my Pakistani fellows has discussed, I think all the points with the women, all the challenges which the women faces in Pakistan. So I will like to conclude all the points. As Paris Khan and Zara and all the other fellows has discussed the points that Pakistani females are facing the challenges of violence. They have there is a lack of education for them. There is a not an opportunities present for them, and there are many other things that women face in Pakistan. But despite of that, many females in Pakistan, the women, they have done wonders. And if we saw their background, it means that the women in Pakistan are not they do not lack the skills, but rather they are not provided with the right environment. If they are set free and if they are provided with the right environment, they can do wonders. It means that there should be steps taken by the government, and there should be international organizations as well to provide these women with the right environment so that they can show their skills in the outer space as well. So I think so. All the problems are discussed by them. So due to the time constraint, I think that would be enough from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bastawar. And I think we don't have time for the question answer sessions. So with the permission of Ms. Camilla, I would like to conclude the session. It was an enriching experience to have her from such diverse perspectives from across the world. And today's discussion has highlighted both the progress made and the challenges that persist in advancing gender equality worldwide. From grassroots activism in the global south to policy advancements in the global north, it is clear that the collaboration and shared learning are essential in breaking the barriers. While the fight for women's rights takes different forms across the regions, our collective commitment to justice and inclusion unites us. Let us continue this dialogue, take action, and work together to create a world where all women, regardless of the borders, can thrive. So thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed to everyone for joining us. And it was really a wonderful experience. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Camilla.
Thank you so much to everyone for your valuable voices, opinions. Thank you so much to Mr. Muhammad for having moderated this very, very interesting webinar, which will be uploaded on the International Council of Human Rights, Peace and Politics YouTube channel soon too. So whoever joined too late or couldn't join will be able to relive this webinar. Thank you all so much. It was a pleasure to be here, and we'll see each other next Thursday at the same time with a new webinar, and the link will be shared soon. Thank you all so much.